Woke up this morning, coffee in hand, flipped on the screen, my favorite man. Crafty's on the TV, chipping that stone with Obsidian and Flint, he's in the zone. He's shaping the future with a hit and a crack, building the legends, ain't no turning back. With every sharp edge, he's teaching the way of the ancients who thrived back in the day. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. Underneath those layers of dust and grit, finds the magic every little bit. A sculptor of stories, buried in the ground, each piece he uncovers wisdom abound. With every collision, the sparks start to fly. As the old world awakens, we question why. He's digging deeper where the shadows play, reviving old crafts that could fade away. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. And in this life, we're all just searching for our place in the world, a way to keep working. With the flick of his wrist, he brings forth the light. In every gray morning, he makes it feel right. So gather around, let the stories unfold. Crafty's our guide through the young and the old. With the sun rising high and the day moving on, Crafty carves dreams till the light is all gone. He's shaping the future one chip at a time. With every creation, he's keeping the rhyme. From the heartland of Texas to the mountains of green, the legacy lives on through the stonework unseen. With every perspective, he's showing the way. Crafty keeps going, come whatever may. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. So here's to the mornings with coffee in hand and Crafty on the screen, the true heart of the land. With a hit and a crack, he's paving the way through stone and through story. He inspires the day.
Hello, hello. I think we're on the air. Intro music provided by Danny Collins. If you don't like it, it's easy to swipe. Yeah. See you later. Okay, Marty Wybe's here. First one. Hey, Marty. JV is he number 2. Chris Cox, good evening. Moana Mason, hey, hey. Sam Fulks, hello, hi. Scott Goldsberry is here. Hello. Lance McElwain, what's up? Blessings keep happening. I hope so. Flake Scars, hey. Lance McElwain is napping too. What we got to make tonight? We're going to make something that doesn't break. Hopefully, out of these ranch rocks. I found some more ranch rocks for our tonight's challenge. I still have the other bifaces. Yeah, I still got the other bifaces in case someone's curious about those. And we still got last night's adventure. Okay, what else? That's it for show and tell. Chris Cox was looking for boppers today. You didn't buy any? Chris Lithic is here. Hey, Mr. Jim, how's it going? A couple of Chris's in the comment section. AM Outdoors, good evening. Yep. Ooh, somebody wins. Yeah, first one. Andrew Humphrey is here. Hey. Jay Johnson, how's it going? Bill MW, 7-ish. Bro. Let me see. Graylin Landry, good evening. Mac Bales is here. How y'all are? We all are good, as far as I know. If you're not good, make sure you tell us. AM Outdoors is napping in the Holiday Inn again. What are you doing in the Holiday Inn? Didn't you already get smart that last time? Chris Lithic got in contact with Kurt's Shirts. Awesome. Alex says, I'm attempting to make an arrowhead out of obsidian. Sounds good. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah. Okay. What you want to do? No Clovis, no Folsoms, nothing cool, and no parallel flaking. Okay? That's what we're not going to do. Yeah. We're going to work on some ranch rocks. That's what we're going to do. And today's lesson. What's today's lesson? It's up on the board. This is a spear point. Spear point. And the whole thing is a spear. So don't be asking me if it seems like I'm making this thing up here. This is not a spear. This is the spear. You should know that. Unless you're like 10 years old and you've only been watching, making pizzas and road food videos. But if you understand a little bit about hunting, you understand that that's a point, spear point, and that's a spear. Okay? Remember that. What? I missed it. What did you say? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Don't worry about it. You just joined us? It's okay. So what is this? This is obsidian, because everything's obsidian. Really? Yeah, didn't you know? Everyone asks if it's obsidian, so might as well be. Yeah, I can say it's chert or flint till I'm blue in the face and people still ask me, is that obsidian? So, it's obsidian. So yeah, I don't want you to be wrong. I don't want you to look stupid. Yeah. Throw it, it's obsidian. So, oh yeah, where am I going to hit? Where do I hit on this thing? Let's get the dry erase board marker. So I'm going to hit there, anywhere there, anywhere there, anywhere there. See the low spots? I look around for low spots. This one might be a good low spot right there. That might be a good low spot. It might glance off. It's not that great. I'm marking the areas where it's hittable. Damn, there's nothing hittable on this side. Yeah, so I'm just going to focus on hitting this because you can hit all along here. And then when that's gone, you can hit higher up all along here. And when that's gone, you can hit higher up along there. We're just going to do that. We're going to creep up on it and keep hitting. Keep hitting it as we go up. And that'll try to preserve this upper part. Get rid of this. Get rid of these areas down here, these bulky areas, and get little spalls for arrow points. Okay, so that's our first task. I'm glad you asked. It's our first task. Whoa, it took a little bit off the other side. Uh-oh. We're losing some material here. So that went that way. Popped this out. Uh-oh, we got some heat damage or some kind of stress damage on the rock there. So this is kind of cruddy. Let's see. Wastebasket. This looks like high-grade stuff, except it has a crack in it. Let's see. Where is that? What's that crack going to do? it's going to be a problem because look, it's almost all the way through there. You can see by the dull patina that it was a crack that went all the way through there. But we can still use this piece. And we might use this piece if we get desperate. This is a desperado piece. This one's a good one. Yeah. What else we got? Hit small and lose small. You don't lose too much of the edge if you hit small. Hit small areas. Well, that's too small. Yeah, it's just smashed. Such a perfect hitting area, and yet it didn't do it. I wonder how that happens. That it's a perfect area to hit and it doesn't do it. There could be many reasons. There's no one reason, or maybe there's no combination of reasons. It just doesn't happen. For the reason it's probabilistic and not deterministic. Even if you know all the initial conditions and control all the initial conditions and then you hit, the result is probabilistic, not deterministic. Okay? Even if you know all the original conditions and you hit something with this kind of fracturing, it's probabilistic. Okay? All right. So I hit small. See, I'm hitting where those dots are, right? So I hit right on one of the dots by coincidence, yes. Because I didn't whack a big part of the edge off. Okay? And that's common throughout the reduction. Hit small, lose small. But if you hit with enough accuracy and power and with a dull spot, you can do that. Voila. What's it look like from this side? Beautiful and fantastically wonderful. Yeah. Beautiful and fantastically wonderful, yes. It's got a crack though. That spoils everything. Yeah, when it's all cracked. When it's crackiola pudding, it spoils everything. But I can make three points out of that. It's high-grade stuff otherwise. It's got these inclusions in it that ruin your day, but as long as you remove those, you're in good shape. Okay, so we shall continue. Where's the next set of dots? All right, about there. All right, let's see. Too low. How about that? Yeah, it's a little bit too bulky. I've napped those before, but they're no fun. Perfect for a video, though. Yeah, the ones that are no fun are good for videos. Yeah. Because that's what everybody has in their collections. They got the stuff that's no fun. Some of you guys were over on Jake's live stream, right? I went over there. I watched you guys. Some of you guys behave differently when you're on my stream than when you're on his stream. Or I've seen you guys on other streams. Yeah. I've seen you. I watched you guys. I'm snooping around sometimes. You don't know. You won't know I'm there unless I comment. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm watching you.
Really? You're spying on us? What's up with that? I thought you was a Flintknapper, not a snitch. Catching us doing the stuff.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm catching you doing stuff, but I'm watching you. Yeah. Just like I watch all the animals and all the neighbors. I watch. I observe people. Yeah. I gotta learn their ways. Okay, what are we going to do now? Well, let's see. I think I can start hitting this anywhere along here. See how I do random dots? That's because that's my accuracy. That's the extent of my accuracy. I can't put one dot and say, I'm going to hit right there. I had to randomize it a little bit. And we're going to do this. We're going to hit somewhere in this area. We're going to follow these dots and see what happens. I might be able to hit this area right there. Take some of that off to see what's under that. Can't hit anything on this side. It's all almost 90. That's all terrible. This has got Cortex. I was thinking I might hit that, but this is Cortex, so I gotta take a flake off. Hit here somewheres. Take a flake off that way, then I can hit there. On this side, you know, I could possibly trim some stuff because it's all delicate, but I don't know. I could, you know, hit on top of this, somewhere on top of that to get rid of that sticking out thing. So we're going to try to maximize this. That's our goal. All right. All right. So let's see. So what do I like best? I don't know. I think I like this best. Got to get rid of the delicate areas where I plan on hitting. Yeah, I forgot to say that I could hit here too. I could hit anywhere along here to skin off some of that. I could kind of follow this ridge, but it's not that great. You know, same thing on this side. It follows that ridge, but it's not that great. So I just hit a flake into there and then hit another flake into there. And, you know, figure out where to go from there. I don't know where to go. I'll probably concentrate some hits in this area to go this way. That way it'll scoop it out like this. Right? And then I can hit this way. From here. Hit that. You know, and thin it. So it gets thinner. Yeah, take some of that off. Take some of that off. You know, you got to thin this down. I could also hit on top of this and run along this. Get rid of some of that mess by hitting that, just to trim it. Whatever. I could also hit along this. Trim some of that off. Go in this direction. Got a lot of options. I don't want to hit down there. I might take these off. Then I want to hit that. Hit this up here, but I got to abrade that first, I think. So there's a lot of different things I could do. So, and I don't think about this in my brain too much when I'm doing it. I just end up seeing stuff that's hittable and go for it. I don't, without thinking too much, because I had a lot of practice already. If I think about it too much, I'll mess it up, because none of this looks absolutely perfect. Everything looks kind of not perfect. So if I think about it too much, I'm going to go, none of these are perfect, so why should I hit them? Why should I even try? Because it's all messed up. These need to be fixed. These edges are no good. Yeah, they're all wonky. They need to be fixed to be perfect. That's what a lot of people get hung up on. But, you know, if you don't get hung up on that kind of stuff, you can proceed without losing your mind. She didn't lose much over there, but I took a lot off of this. And that's a good flake. But it's all probabilistic. I didn't know it was going to do that. And the stone didn't know it was going to do that. Especially toward the termination side. It doesn't know what it's going to do on the termination. The least predictable part is the ending. The second least predictable part is the beginning. The middle is fairly easy to predict. Yeah. But remember, it's still all probabilistic. Is that going to do? That didn't do it at all. Not at all. Perfect platform, it didn't release. That was good. I mean, that was a good hit. But it didn't do it. It didn't do it. See? All the conditions could be good, but no. So if I hit all the possibilities? No. Let's trim some of this off. That's a delicate area. Should we continue doing this? No, this is bugging me up here. I wanted to get some of that removed. Let's see. Let's try hitting a here further, loosen that up. Yeah, it's looser, but it's not nicer. How about if I hit this? See, now it gives me the opportunity to hit this way like I wanted to try to get some of this off. This scoop out didn't work that great. It kind of worked, but it dove in there instead of scooping it. It dove in. So I think this might be a little bit of a divey type material. We got a crack right here, so this is going to ruin our day. This crack. So the end result is probably going to be this side and a narrow point, or see, we got a crack here too. Or it's going to break in half. We're going to have half of this size. Yeah, I don't know what's going to do. What's it going to do? See that? This might meet up over here like this. This might meet up with that one. In which case it could snap right across there. Okay. Do I think about this when I'm napping? Maybe for like a half a second. Because the object is just to try to get a biface, and then whatever happens, happens. If I think about it too much, it doesn't work. What happens? What does that mean it doesn't work? It ends up being a little almond shape. So I'll get like this size of a thing out of this if it's not working. If I think about it too much, this turns into something that's this size. Okay? If I think about it too much. When you're first doing this, when you're brand new, yeah, you got to think about it a lot. But you're also going to break a lot of stones because you're thinking about it too much. You just got to get that happy medium where you're thinking about it, but not too much. See if I ran that ridge. Kind of, sort of. I wanted to get rid of some of this, but it didn't go all the way. I can try hitting it again, but it's not a perfect place. But usually when it's not perfect, it works better than when it is perfect. I don't know why that is. Just my luck. Now, do I want to... Yeah, I do want to take some of this off. Because there's a crack there. I need to see where it goes. See, it's already looking like you might go around like this instead of straight. I got to see where it's going. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, there it goes. I had to see where it was going. So it met up with the crack. Yes, it did. See those dots right there? It's a little bit off from where I thought. But I can use this one. I can use this flake. And I can use these two. Yeah. See that patina in there? That means that was a crack that went all the way through. So there's no way I could have preserved the whole thing. Okay, just so you know. See that difference in color? This is a fresh stone edge. Look how different it looks from this. This means that this was an existing crack. See that patina on that? There's no way I could have preserved that whole thing. Okay, that's why it says it's going to probably ruin our day. But this one looks clean. As long as all this is under the cortex is good. Okay, so let's get the easy part done and we can move on from this. I have other stones. Yeah, if you want to, we can do this all night. Because I got a whole bucket. Oh yeah, see, I got stuff. I searched and searched the whole world wide over. Searched the world over and she would go. You know, you watched Hee-Haw before. I searched the world over and thought I found true love. She found another and she was gone. All right, let's see. Let's see. Nice. I like it. It's high grade stuff. As long as it don't have no cracks or inclusions. So where do I hit on this? Well, let's go over potential hittables. Oh, that's a good potential hittable there and a good potential hittable there. Not that one. That's too high up. I might be able to fix that so I can hit downward. Yeah, oh, this is hittable right there. Anywhere along there. That's hittable right on top of that. And all these dots, these are hittable. Yeah, that way. I don't know what I'm gonna do up here. Zigzag it. I could probably hit that and just make that even taller so I can hit down this way. Or I can hit down this way right away. Try to scoop that out. Or I can hit down this way and scoop that out. You know, I could follow that ridge there. Or I can hit downward and scoop this out to make it a little more pointy. How about this? Do I hit there? No, we don't want to hit there because not yet. It'll thin the middle too much. We got to work on the ends. That is a spot to hit, but not yet. Middle is last, so I don't even mark it yet. Why did I mark this one? Because it's way out in the middle of nowhere. It's extending out. This one creeps into our final measurement. Anywhere along here is probably going to mess up our width, so I got to be careful. Like this, got to be careful with that. Got to be careful with this because it messes with our width. This messes with our width too, but it's way out there. Yeah. Now I can say to myself, well, why don't I just preserve that and not hit it? We got a little contender for misery right there. That's why. I want to lose all this because we got a contender for misery right there. It's a crack. We don't want that in our finished product. You might say, well, you can make an arrowhead right there. Skim it right across there like that. And then this is the other part of the arrowhead. See how nice that is? It's not nice because we got a big old fat square edge. We got to be very careful on this side. We can't preserve much of this unless we're really, really careful or we find some other way to skin it. We can skin it from this direction, hitting this way. Maybe run ridges and take out that concavity and keep running flakes there, and hopefully the flakes will travel and remove some of this stuff. But when you say hopefully, you're running into problems. You're going to run into problems if everything's hopefully, hopefully, hopefully. Yeah, that's when you're starting to think about it too much. Okay. It's a dynamic process. Things could change if you hit a wrong spot or if you hit it wrongly. Things could change. And I could switch my priorities really fast. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to hit downward here. Hit downward again. Hit downward again. Yeah. And then from here, it's kind of wonky, so I don't know. I'm going to hit downward right there. See what we got. Then hit right in here. Yeah, that's not bad. We got a contender for misery right there. How about over here? So we can thin down the end a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Starting to make sense. Take off some of the weak areas. I can see what I got better. Trim it a little bit. Just small hits. Hit small, lose small. Just take off little bits here and there. Focus on the ends first. Yep. I'm going to zigzag this very carefully. How about right there? Yeah, you can do that. That's legal, but it's risky. I don't want to do too many of those riskies. How about this over here? How about this? We got a bunch of dots on here. How about that? Well, I don't know. It's too good to be true. Besides, it's Cortex-y. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to take off the sharp, delicate edges, and then we'll see. That might be the best course of action, to just take a lot of that off. But I still need to thin the ends down a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. Probably. I feel like taking more off of this to thin down this part, and then more off of the tip here to thin down that part. And then I'll hit the middle. How's that? Good or no? See, on this is not that great, but I can hit on top. Hit toward that direction. Hit toward that direction. I can take that off by hitting on top, on the surface. And then, as long as I don't think about it too much. See, like that. So instead of hitting right directly in the middle, I just hit the sides. Yeah. So my next spots, I'm going to hit right there somewhere. Anywhere along there is good. We'll probably hit right there. Probably hit right there. And then once we got those hits out of the way, I'm going to hit right there. I'm going to hit right there. Get the tip thin down. And then we're going to switch back over here. And I think we're going to start hitting this mess. Start hitting this mess. Okay, in the middle. So we're going to do the ends first, and then we're going to do the middle. That's the procedure for strategy. Yeah, that's the strategy. That didn't work, but it's okay. At this stage, it doesn't matter too much. This is the easy stage. When it starts getting thin, I can't make those kind of mistakes, so I've got to be a little more careful. What happens if I'm not more careful? Well, then I mess it up. Yeah, it's much easier to mess it up at the final stages. Oh, yes. Okay, so that's what makes it the hardest part of Flintknapping. Because you can mess it up really easy at the final stages. So now I can hit this anywhere along there. To thin the middle. I thin the ends down, you know, maybe not perfect, but they're good. I can hit that right there as long as I grind it a little bit. I don't need to hit this no more. I can hit down this way. That's it. That's a no-brainer. I can hit that, and then it'll zigzag easily. You know, I can hit that. I can hit this. There's a lot of opportunities. I can come back and I can grind this and maybe hit another flake this way. You know what I mean? I can grind this and hammerstone it a little bit. It gives me an opportunity to flip it over and hit it this anywhere along here to take advantage of this ridge. I can hit there, like I said before. I can take advantage of that ridge. I can hit here and take advantage of this ridge. Yeah, a ridge right along the edge. That's edge ridge. Yeah, I can hit there and take advantage of this ridge. Well, as it gets thinner, you take advantage of ridges. When it's not so thin, you don't have to take advantage of ridges, but I can take advantage of these ridges. Hit that. You know, even if it's not thin. But when it gets thin, yeah, I got to pay more attention to the convexities and ridges when it gets thinner. When it's like this, I can hit right here, right? And there's no ridge here, but it'll still scoop out a flake. I can hit right there, and it'll take a flake out of here. And there's no ridge. It's opposite of, it goes, you know, across a ridge in the seemingly wrong way, but it'll still work. You don't have to follow ridges in this stage. That's what makes it kind of easy. You know what I'm saying? But as it gets thinner, yeah, you got to pay more attention. So where am I going to hit first? Well, the strategy says thin the ends first, so I got a good end shot right there if I do it right. But this is too heavy now for this. I'm feeling a weight discrepancy that I don't want to mess up. So I'm going to put this down and go to a lighter bobber. See, this is much lighter than what I began with. Yeah. Why does it matter? It doesn't matter all that much, except in some cases, especially with high-grade stone, it amplifies your mistakes. So what I think would be a small mistake can become a big mistake with this stuff. So if I have something that's too heavy and I hit too hard, it may just cut the whole thing in half. It might do a reverse hinge because it's too heavy. As an example. Okay? All right. There's other things. You can crush the edge. I can hit downward and knock a big old rings, what they call it, ring crack off the end. It'll mess it up. I want to hit small and remove only a small portion. Like that. And get a good flake. But it didn't do it. Perfect ridge, perfect setup, everything's perfect, but it didn't do it. That's like, I don't know, 25% of my hits or it didn't work, but everything was okay. It doesn't bother me anymore. Nope. Just move on. I move on to what's next. What is next? Right here, I can knock this little piece off. I can, I want to run this a little bit. Get this thin down. Hit that area. Not the middle yet. Not the middle yet. I can hit this maybe, except it's not really set up that great to run this ridge. But I bet you if I stop paying attention to ridges, if I stop doing that, I'll have better success running some flakes. Right now, I'm doing like the conventional way. Just hit and run ridges, but you don't have to do it that way. Okay? To be honest with you, I'm doing it because I'm thinking about it too much. I'm looking at ridges and I'm following the typical guidelines. Yeah. But you don't have to think about it that much. Not when you've gotten used to the stone. You don't have to. But for the new guys, then you don't have to do that or this. You don't have to do that. It baffles them. Why do you not have to do it? Why? There's no explanation as to why. It just works with lots of practice. You don't have to follow the conventions. Yeah. Like I started thinning the middle and I saw I was going to do the ends. Yeah. Because it was bugging me. I don't know.
Dude, you're so hard to follow when you're explaining it like that.
I know.
I was just getting into it. Then you say you don't have to do it that way. Now I'm all messed up again.
It's okay. I mean, you'll figure it out. Yeah. You're not going to figure it out just by watching me. You got to sit there and do it. There's no amount of me explaining it to get you to do it right. You've got to sit there and actually do it. There's better. That's not better. Okay, so I've got to figure out why it's crushing a lot. It's probably because it's high grade stuff and it just snaps. It just flakes super easy. So I've got to make sure that the edge is going to be able to handle those flakes. It crushes easy because it flakes easy. All right, so it's not perfect, but I can hit there and I can hit there. I just can't think about it too much. I'll keep saying that over and over again. Yeah, a little bit too high, but still working. Yeah. Now a shot across the middle. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Trim. Trim. Zigzag. That's okay for that side. How about right here? Trim. A little bit of zigzag. Because I like to. Not following any ridges. Just zigzag it. Yeah. See what I tell? That was not a ridge there. I don't know if I can get that flake again. There's some that got, you see, it's not the typical ridge flake. I blew away some of the sides. It was a little bit protruding, so it was pretty easy to hit, but it didn't follow a ridge. It's just a fat spot. And there's many examples like that. I just don't want to stop with each one of those. I might have to, just because you need to see all kinds of different situations. I'm still trying to maximize it, right? I still have cortex on the sides. I'm barely trying to shape it. I don't want to shape it too soon because I could mess up one of the edges. Once I get all the edges trimmed, then I can start shaping. Yeah. Yeah, it is a good quality stone. It's just too good. It amplifies all the mistakes. So why was that a mistake? I probably didn't grind it. Yeah, I didn't grind that enough, I guess. I don't know. Something went wrong that scooped it out. It's not the material. But if I try to figure it all out, it's not going to work. I don't know what's going on. I'll just live with what I got. And if it doesn't look good, I just reshape the whole thing. Okay, so that's basically the easy part. Okay. Now comes the hard part. Okay, where do I hit now? Well, now there's a lot more opportunities and places to hit. Now I can hit anywhere along the edge. Anywhere, 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 anywhere. It's the second stage. The first stage is done. What are the stages? First stage, bifacing. Second stage is preliminary thinning. So this next stage, and these all have different mindsets. Okay? So the first stage, we just got through the easy part. I selectively hit. Now everything is a target. Everything is fair game. Anywhere along the edge is where I'm going to be hitting. Anywhere. Okay? Same on the other side. It's all fair game now. That's why, one of the reasons why it's a different mindset. Okay? Anywhere is fair game. How is that? Well, some flakes are little, some flakes are big, some flakes shape the contour, and they're very tiny, or sometimes I take a big one. Sometimes I'll hit up on the surface. Sometimes I'll use the ground edge as a place to hit. All right, sometimes I'll hit downward right on the surface. If I want to fast trim, I'll just hit on the surface downward, right on the surface, and it'll crack it. It'll, cause a crack like that. If I hit on the surface, that removes a lot of material fast. Okay. Now, normally at this stage also, I would switch over to indirect percussion. But since I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm going to still use the bopper on the second stage, because I need to get some practice. Still, even though I know my coordination is limited, I still practice. So to prepare for this next stage, next series of flakes, I grind it down a lot. Let's see, what we got in the chat? What did I miss? Dusty says, all right, boys, I'm taking your wife and dog for some ice cream. Hope you all get your rocks off together. Let's see. Oh, I think is Dusty a rando? Let me see. Yeah, I think he's one of those randos. Let's see. Let's see. Who else we got in the chat? Let's see. Just a random Bigfoot says, next YouTube upload will be titled, Stone learned to fight back and then ran away. Yeah. What else? What else? Blunt X is here. You know what happened to Jake earlier? Did he lose internet from a storm or what? No, I don't know. I left a live stream before he ended it. I was on his live stream for a little while. Let's see. Who else? Stoneface is here. Explore Florida. What are you guys talking about? Let me look on the other phone. I can see what's going on better. Yeah. Let's see. You've been here about 15 minutes. What did you miss? Nothing. Just an unusual instructional period. I usually don't explain what I'm doing that much. You missed that part. I started marking all the potential hitting areas. All the areas of impact. Jesse is here. Let me see. No questions? How sharp does it end up? Really sharp. It ends up being this sharp. However sharp that is. See that? It ends up being that sharp. You can make your own judgment as to how sharp that is. Is it going to be as sharp as one of these flakes? No way. It'll never be this sharp. Never. Nope. This is as sharp as it gets. A natural flake. If you want sharp, this is it. It won't even be this sharp. You see how thick this is? I'm going to get it, the final piece, thinner than this rock, but I can't get the edge this thin. See that? I can't get the edge that thin or that straight. So this is a nice knife, just like it is. And they were used like this. The most common artifact throughout all of history in every site, every site that you find artifacts is the utilized flake. Flakes like this. So this is prettier, I would think, but it's not sharper than that stuff down there. It's a good question, right? But yeah. Hey, Graydon Landry. Let's see. Who else is here I didn't see come in? Yeah, you missed the easy part. Is that a root beer flake? This is similar to root beer chert, yes. But it's ranch rock. Yeah. This is a flint, actually. All this stuff is kind of chalky. So this is a Edwards Plateau flint. The stuff I just broke up. But it had cracks in it, so it isn't that great. But this is what they call an Edwards Plateau flint, because it has a chalky cortex. See, this is chalk. Or is it? Yeah, it's chalk. I can easily... Yeah. I can easily get dust off of it. Yeah, it's all chalky. See that? So it's ranch rock. There's a ranch that we can go to pick that up. It's scattered all over the place, and it has lots of damage in it. I think that's why the Native Americans didn't bother with it. It has lots of damage, but we can get little points. You know, fairly good stuff. Looks like KRF. Yeah, it does, but it has a slightly different feel than KRF. Yeah, it looks similar, but it has a different feel to it. KRF is more like an agate. This is more like a flint. This is like a Georgetown, but translucent. I don't know if that makes sense. All these flakes, if I was blindfolded, I don't know if I could tell the difference between this and Georgetown flakes. The feel, the sound, and all that. It's just like Georgetown flakes, except this stuff is translucent and Georgetown usually is not. Mike Mason, what is your most notable Mandela effect? Are you asking me? What have I noticed? You mean pertaining to primitive skills or flint knapping or bow making? What? There's lots of different Mandela effects. Things that people think happened but didn't. Let's see. Is that it? Are we going to move on? Hey, Blunt X says, hey, hello, hello, hello. Dang. I can't see any questions. All right, so we're just going to... If I missed your question, I apologize. I'm very sorry. I can't really check the chat all that thoroughly without losing half the audience. They hate it when I check the chat. Okay. So I'm preparing it for indirect percussion because I don't think I can be accurate enough with the bopper. Even when I downsized the bopper, I still got some issues with the accuracy. I think I scooped that out. That's probably an accuracy issue. There's a very subtle difference in the way I hit can make all the difference. Okay. So where is the opportunistic places to hit? Like I said, anywhere. Anywhere is fair game during this stage. Anywhere. It's all hittable. All of it. That's why I grind all of it. Because I can hit anywhere along the edge. Anywhere. Anywhere. As Pointy says. Remember last time? This is the edge. You can hit anywhere along the edge. Okay, it's not platforms. You can hit anywhere. Anywhere. Okay, all right. Where is my copper? Where's my 3/8 copper rod 12 inches long that I can get on eBay? Where is it? This is my 3/8 copper diameter rod, solid copper that's 12 inches long that I can get on eBay. Yeah, there it is. The other one was my 5/16 inch copper rod, 12 inches long, solid copper that I can get on eBay. Yeah, the other one was 5/16. So anywhere along the edge. So you're wondering why am I hitting on certain spots? Because I can hit anywhere. That's why. And you might say, no, but why that spot specifically? Because I'm trying to thin it. Otherwise, I wouldn't hit that spot. I'm trying to thin it. That's why I hit that. Yeah, but, I mean, why would you do that and not something else? If I answered that question, I start thinking too much. So I'm not going to answer that question. Because thinking too much ruins everything. Yeah. Okay. It's not that complicated because the human brain has done a lot of the work for you. Or is going to do a lot of the work for you. It's done a lot of the work in the past because of your ancestors, right? You have a brain that you've inherited from creatures that have been doing this for thousands, hundreds of thousands, and maybe even millions of years. So you don't need to think about it too much. Yeah. It's amazing. I don't know how I do this. I don't know how my brain is able to store these skills. All I know is that they are stored. And after a while, you just knap by feel and not by analysis. At first, yeah, you're going to have to do some analysis. But after a while, it's all by feel. And you're going to feel, you know, how much force to use and where you can use it. It's all by feel. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I wish I knew exactly what to tell you to make you knap better without you actually doing it. But there's no way to do that. You can't just plug into the matrix and learn the skill just by plugging into this video and intensely watching this. That's not how this works. It might work eventually. Someone else's memories can be implanted into your brain. But for now, you've actually got to construct your own memories by doing, not by watching. Yeah, I can hit anywhere along the edge. And I do. Anywhere, depending on the flake I want. Oops. Let's see. Oops, that slipped. Yeah, that's what I want. I want those kinds of flakes. Do I always get those kinds of flakes? Absolutely not. But when I get them, I'm like, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. I don't deserve it. I am not worthy. No. But I'll take it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm not worthy of your cooperation. But I'll take it. Yes. And yeah, I'll try not to think too much, okay? The stone says, you better not be thinking too much. No, don't worry about it. I'm not thinking too much. You know, stone's thinking, if you're gonna do this, at least make it pretty. Yeah. It would rather snap in half. That's what it would rather do. But if it's going to be something, might as well do it. It wants to be pretty if you're going to do something. Yeah. Right. But yeah, it doesn't really want to be Arrowhead. But if you're going to go through all this trouble, it'll be happy when it's nice and pretty. Yeah. Yeah, like that. How did I do that? What's the angles? What's the forces? What's the velocity of the... I don't know. What's the dangle of the angle? I don't know. Why am I thinning the middle? Because I took the opportunities, yeah. Not supposed to thin that middle so much. Yeah, I'm supposed to thin the ends first, but I just wanted to get over that. I wanted to get past that. Yeah, I wanted to see if I could do it, basically. Somebody gave me a super chat. Jesse, $10 shipping cost auction win. Whoa, thank you, thank you. Yeah, that was a nice gesture. Yes, yes. Thank you. I don't know if your package was that expensive, or was it? I'm trying to think. Did I send it priority or did I send it ground advantage? Usually if it's like over half a pound, I send it priority. If it's under half a pound, I'll send it advantage, ground advantage. It gets there at the same speed, and it has a tracking number. I can't remember if your stuff was half a pound or not. But yeah, thanks. That stuff went out today. Wow, this is too sweet for us. I don't know why I chose this as a rock challenge. Holy moly. Sweet. This is the kind of stone I used to get real thin, I imagine. Back in the day. Look how cooperative that is. Let's just sit and ponder the cooperativeness of this particular stone. This is a rare treat. Look at the terminations. Do you see lots of crunching going on? It's flat, but do you see crunching going on? I don't see it. This is amazing. I mean, truly, it is a treat to knap something that doesn't dive or get crunchy. That's what they used back in the day to make nice stuff. This kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, most of my rocks don't cooperate like this either. This is super cooperative. Like I said, let's just gloat over this for a moment. That's amazing. Truly amazing. It makes the hardest part of flint knapping actually relatively easy. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So, what are we going to make out of this stuff? And it's even got translucencies, that added bonus. Okay, I'm going to switch over now. This is the next stage. All right, the preliminary thinning is done. Now it's the secondary thinning. Now I can start doing the edging and notching now. Some artifacts are done that way. The edging and notching are done at this stage, and then the upper blade is finished later. I could focus on the base. Like if I want to make a bandy, I've been looking at bandy points today. The bandy points have thick bases. This is perfect for a bandy. I'll thin it down a little bit more, but they would do the bases first to make sure that was pretty good, and then they would do the rest of the blade. You can tell because the blade flakes interfere and overlap the notching flakes on a bandy. And there's some really long pressure flakes, it looks like. Yeah. So they were using pressure and some good percussion flakes after they did the stem and the base. Anyways, I don't know, I might do a bandy. It just might take all night. Let's see, what time is it? I've been on for an hour. If I start focusing on a bandy, they're very persnickety. It could take me a long time. So I'm just trimming the edge and getting rid of some of the nasty spots that I can see. It's still a little bit wonky. All right. So I'm doing what they call edging. See, when I say edging and notching, edging means I'm improving the edge. So edging and then notching, I could be doing that right now and skipping the secondary thinning and do the secondary thinning on stage 4. So I can switch these around. Then there's final finishing. Okay. Now, sometimes it goes from biface directly to edging and notching, believe it or not. There are some artifacts you can tell the procedure was that. Number 4 becomes number 2, and then it goes through everything, every other step. Okay, so that's not a fixed list. You don't have to follow that order. They did not follow that order back in the day. That was just one of the orders that was followed. Okay, all right. So I'm going to do edging, and I'm also going to taper it. I didn't put tapering in there. Tapering is just something that I do for a professional look to the point. Tapering is not something I see on a lot of artifacts. I see a lot of wonkiness on real artifacts. They didn't perfectly taper them. Now, there's exceptions, like the Scots Bluff points and stuff were perfectly tapered. But if you look at some of the other ones, like I've got pictures of artifacts. Let's just take a little break, a little breather before I move to the next stage, the secondary thinning. I did the preliminary thinning already. This is preliminary thinning done. Okay, so now comes secondary thinning. But anyway, I'm going to look at my pictures that I've got. I'll show you some artifacts. Now, I didn't take very many side views because I was kind of pressed for time. But a friend of mine that owns a ranch, well, he's not really a close friend. He's just an acquaintance, I guess. But yeah, I have a friend who's a taxidermist who has a friend that owns a big ranch. And that friend that owns a big ranch let me take pictures of his artifacts. Where are they? I'm looking through my photos. Does it go that far back? Oh, yes, it does. All right, so see that? These are real artifacts made from stuff that's very similar to this, okay? There's variations in the ranch rock on his ranch. This is just some of it. This is the higher grade stuff. Okay? So, I didn't, like I said, I didn't have time to take side views. But these are real ones. You can see the percussion flaking. Heavy percussion. Now, there's a bandy right there. There's a dandy bandy right there. See that one right there? Next to the quarter? That's a dandy, or is it a quarter? Yeah. That's a dandy bandy right there. Now, there's a lot of these other ones are Peternalis and Marshalls, Montels. It's like a preform right there. I forget what these others are. Contracting stems, and then you get the expanding stem. Very simple. I forget what those are called. Lang trees. Some of these are lang trees. Like this one down here. This one down here, this lang tree is probably made out of this kind of flint. Oops. This one down here. All right. Are you getting the idea or no? Where's another dandy bandy? Anywhere? The one next to the quarters right there. I put a quarter in there for scale. Okay. So you can see there's not a lot of smooth surfaces in that picture, right? They're all kind of wonky. If you look at the side views, they're wonky. All right? They're not professionally tapered like I like to taper mine. There are some exceptions, but most of these are wonky. You turn them to the side and they're not perfectly straight, and they're not perfectly tapered. Some of these are not finished. Some of these are broken in manufacture. Some of these have been broken because they've been shot at something. You can tell a lot of these. See, he doesn't have any complete points except for very few. He let me take pictures of all the broken ones. Okay? You don't need consistent flaking to do it like they did back in the day. This is a Montel that has the base broken. So it looks concave now, but it wasn't originally. That's broken in the haft. So it was probably shot at something. It's a broken Montel in the base and on the tip. And how do I know that? I remembered that one. I looked at the base. It's definitely snapped and not napped. Let's see, what else? Pedernales up there. Okay. Are you getting sick of looking at these? Because you can't stand it when they're not perfect. There's not a single perfect one in here. And that one might have been resharpened to do what, like a spoke shave? Some of these are heat damaged. You can see heat pops, like they were trying to heat treat it and it ruined it. That looks like a pedernal on its way. They heat treated it and ruined it. That's what it looks like to me. There's a Marshall right there. There's some bezel notch going on. I think it looks like broken in manufacture. Okay. So when I taper this down, it's because they look a lot better for the auction. When I auction these off, everyone wants to see nice, neat taperings and all that. So that's why I do it. Not to say that the other ones aren't tapered to some extent, but they're kind of wonky, okay? They're kind of wonky. That's all I'm saying. And it's because they were using tools that were kind of fat. The natural tools have to be more robust than the copper, so the natural tools won't get all chewed up and broken, because they're weak compared to copper. So when you have natural tools that are all fat, you can't be extremely precise. Now, some guys can be very precise with the natural tools, yes. And they end up making points that look like they were made with modern tools, but they make them with natural tools. I don't really see the purpose of making something that looks like it was made with modern tools using natural tools. I don't see the reason. Might as well just use modern tools to make something that looks like it was made in modern times. All right, if you're going to use natural tools, make them look like the ones in the picture that I showed you. Make them look like artifacts. But make sure that you've got them identified in some way so it can't get confused with the real ones. Okay, then you run into problems with people trying to make counterfeits. They're saying, oh, so he's using natural tools in a way that makes them look like real artifacts. I'm going to learn how to make fakes then, and counterfeits from that guy. Yeah. Or, someone might get a hold of one of the points that are made in that way and try to sell it as a real one. So you got to figure out some way to either record everything on video so you have proof that you made it, or make it out of the wrong kind of stone, or scratch it in some way, somewhere secretly, whatever. Okay? All right. I tapered them down nice and neatly. That's one way to identify them as modern. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get little fingernail step fractures, but that's because I'm being really persnickety. I'm gonna switch over to a different tool tip in here in a minute. I get these little fingernail step fractures and this kind of stuff because I'm trying to do really, really thin flakes. And I'm pushing the limits. I need to take some thicker flakes so they won't do that. Besides, it's getting all lumpy too, so I lose energy if this is all lumpy and full of rock dust. I don't want to use the grinder. The sander. All right. A little more precise. Let's see. No, that's not going to work. Okay. All right. What else? Yeah, to taper it nicely, I still got some work to do. Yeah. And this becomes the hardest part, because this all these flakings are just for looks at this stage, which are the hardest flakes of all. If you're doing it for looks, those are the hardest flakes, most difficult, because they gotta look good. You gotta fuss over every flake. Yeah, so I don't need to thin it much more for that bandy. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. It's gotta look like that. It's kind of like a fishtail. It's got a, yeah, it's got like a fishtail base. Basal notches, down turning barbs, and big old flakes. And that's common all the way up the blade. Those big old percussion flakes. They might be pressure too, because these guys were strong. Yeah, you can make big old pressure flakes too. Okay. this is a little bit larger than a bandy, than the one in the picture. The quarter was pretty good size compared to it. But I can copy the general outline. Yep. But I'm going to do the edging. I'm going to do the edging on this first, just so I can get used to how it pressure flakes. I'll be doing a lot of pressure flaking down here on the stem and base. Yeah. And there's not too much persnickety napping on the bandies on the edges. I have a few artifacts that I own that are bandies, and they're sharp once they get past halfway. They're sharp up here, but down here they're sometimes I find dull spots, and I've seen dull spots on the lower parts of a lot of Texas points on the lower part of the barbs. They didn't sharpen them up that much, but up here on the upper half they sharpened these blades up. Yeah. Okay. Just so you know, I sharpen them all the way around. Yeah, so they look professional. Professional modern nappers should sharpen them all the way around, I think. Helps to identify them from the real ones. And the way that they treat the edges on the real ones is different than this. See, I just do the persnickety type of picking at the edge. They didn't do a lot of those edges that you see in the picture were not done like this. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, you'll have to look at your own artifacts. Yeah, I don't want to say because it just makes people easier. It makes it easier for people to make counterfeits if they can see how they were edged. And if I tell you how they were edged, show you how to nap that way, it's easier for you to make counterfeits. So there you go. Not gonna do it. TJ and Soul is in the house. Mr. Jim says I start losing my nice flake scar patterns when I start thinning. Yeah, that happens. Just don't thin it. That's how you solve that problem. You don't thin them. After you get the nice flake pattern, you leave it, or you just sharpen the edge by little bitty flakes. That's it. Or you can just make a perfect preform and do one pass, one finish pass on the flake scars, and then don't touch it. You can do a final finish pass on the flakes. That's one of the hardest things in Flintknapping, is doing one final finish pass as your final flake pattern, because you cannot mess that up at all. Nope, cannot mess that up. It's so easy to mess up the final flake pass. But to not lose your flake pattern, just take little bitty flakes. if you feel the need that you have to sharpen it. Just take little bitty flakes, just little bitty, just like the Folsoms, little bitty flakes. Micro flaking. Yeah, I like the big flake scars too. I like a bold look on the point. I do. I see what you're going to do. The danger in taking off really, really thinning flakes is those little step fractures. Those little bitty terminations. See those little bitty? Can't do too much about those. I mean, you can do that, but there's still little remnants. What is this? I don't know. Well, I took a big flake off of that side earlier. Right? Yeah. Sounds like it's raining again. See, if I want to keep the flake scar pattern, I just do little bitty flakes on the edge. Now, if you want these bold high spots, like on some of the Daltons, you don't do persnickety napping at all. You just leave them dull. And believe it or not, you look at the casts or the real Daltons, and they just left it dull. They would grind it and then take these flakes off in a pattern, and they wouldn't even resharpen that. They only sharpen the top part. They leave all the side stuff nice and dull. It'd be sharp in some spots and then dull, and then sharp and dull, and sharp and dull, and sharp and dull. On the Daltons. Believe it or not. So yeah, I just gave that away. What? I missed it. You told us an edging technique, and I missed it. Yeah, you missed it. Oh well. It's because some people want to see the bold look, and that's how they used to do it. But it was back in the day. It wasn't because of looks. It was because of expediency. You don't really need the lower part sharp. You just need the upper part sharp on the blades for projectile point. You need the whole edge sharp for a knife, but projectile points you just need the upper, at least the upper third sharp. The rest doesn't matter too much. So you know, if you knock off those high spots, it kind of flattens out the whole thing. So just don't knock off the high spots. But I do it so it has a nice, clean, modern look. Yeah. I think it looks clean, even though it kind of flattens out the flake pattern. It doesn't look bad. It just looks a little bit different. Yeah. I scraped it. Dang. I should be using indirect percussion instead of really heavy pressure. Indirect percussion never does that by mistake. How do you get that off? I just scrape it with another flake. Copper comes off pretty easily. It's the steel that smears when that happens. When you try to do this, if you get a steel smear, it'll smear even worse. Copper is a little bit easier to remove. Of course, you can always send more flakes in to get rid of that. But yeah, copper is much easier to get rid of than steel. There's a chemical, I forget what it's called, but you can use a chemical to remove steel marks. But I never have because I'm afraid that it's going to ruin the stone. Either immediately or down the road. Alright, let's see if I can do this correctly. Yeah, like that. All right, let's do the notching, shall we? Yeah. So on the bandy, these bases need to be thick. So there's some strength required in doing the notching. And some of those big old flakes from the sides on the bandy, they were probably done with pressure by strong knappers. Okay. Let's see, let me take one more look. See, the sides are straight. Well, that side looks straight, so that may be the only glitch on mine. Mine are more convex. Anyways, we're just going to keep the convex sides. All right. Let's see. I do need to thin this just a little bit. Get some of the lumps out before I start notching. That's going to be a real hassle to get through that with a notch. Yeah, let's see. I might have to thin it down. It's been a while since I did a bandy, so if that area where the notches is going to be is too thick, it's going to be hard for me to get the shape correct. Because it's been a while since I done one of these. Let's see. It's starting to rain. I'm straightening the sides a little bit, and that allows me to thin it more. So I took a big thinning flake there. I think I'm going to take one from the other side as well. That didn't go very far. Okay, we'll start notching. That looks pretty symmetrical and still not too thin. Okay, we'll see how this goes. The notching angles inward. Yeah, it angles inward that way. They don't go straight up, they go inward, okay? All right. That's all I want to know. Now I've got to get nice big pop outs on these so it looks right. Yeah, I got to get a bunch of those. Easier said than done. So I look at it. See, you can tell they really forced those notches until they started stalling. On this one anyway. There might be another one in here. Let's see. Where is it? That's probably a Frio. Yeah. I don't think there's another bendy. Let's see. No. I guess not. I gotta go by that one. That's it. Yeah, so I gotta go by this one. You can tell they really forced those notches until they stalled. So I gotta get good pop outs at first and then just keep going until it stalls out. Because they were napping into some really thick areas. The pop outs just allow me to keep going. Okay, so I don't stall too fast. One more push. See, that was, I pushed so hard that one crumbled and crushed. So I'm just setting it up to push really hard. Yeah. Okay. This is fairly thin, but it's steel, so it shouldn't bend. Yeah. And the stone is cooperating very well. It's nice stone. Yep, got lucky with this one. Okay. Let's see. The entry is too narrow. I just didn't want to make the base too small. I have to borrow some from the side there to get it. I stalled it too fast. I thought I could push past. Okay, that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. It's just in and downward. Right, you just push in and downward. Pop those flakes out downward. You push in first and then down. You push in for the force and then down for the pop out. And then the basil notch. It's actually just a V, but it's, I guess you can consider it notched. Pretty sure they did a nice pop out. Like that. Okay, one on each side would be nice. Yeah. Then I think these sides were heavily serrated in some cases, right? I noticed in the book, in the big red book, the bandy is heavily serrated on the sides. Barber. Yeah, these are bandies in the book. Okay, so the one we're looking at in the picture was like this one here. Here's mine. So the base is a little bit wider than a lot of these. In fact, I need to make it less fishtail by straightening out. See, mine are curved. My barbs are curved. Or the ears, I need to make them straighter. Straight. Yeah. And then there's heavy serrations on some of these. And then a nice needle tip. So, serrations and a needle tip, and I got to straighten out these sides of the underside of the ears. In the picture, it looks like they were rounded, but this one's kind of rounded. I think it's more like this. Okay. Where's the black background? Sharper. Sharper. Yeah. Now serrations and needle tip. Yeah. I'm just gonna put in some big flakes, I guess. Alright, let's see. Where is the file and all that? I lost it. I gotta clean up the background where you can't see nothing. I need to thin some of this down. Yeah, there's a lump right here. Okay. What time is it? Oh, I still got 8 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to take some percussion flakes and then do the serrations. Okay, so I'm just going to be picking on the edges. Yeah. Okay, so these don't need to be perfect either, which is good. I just got to make sure there are some serrations, but they don't have to be perfect. Okay. So I'm just taking random flakes to make it look jaggedy. Yeah, but even the jaggedy edges require a little bit of patience. Right, right. Yes, yes. Okay, and then do the tip, right? A little bit more pointy, yeah. Yeah, they didn't put serrations up near the tip. So I'm just going to make it nice and smooth. Taper the tip down a little bit. Having a much easier time working on the tip on this stuff. The material makes a difference. Yeah, except when it doesn't. There it goes. There was a big lump on the edge right there. Let's see. It might look a little bit too flakery. Oh well. So on these, yeah, they had some pretty drastic tips, but there wasn't too many flakes. Well, this one's kind of persnickety. So let's see. Yeah, mine's not all that drastic. They did some drastic points on there. I can take mine down a little bit more. But some of these are resharpened, I think. So I think I'm going to leave it. If I mess with it too much, it gets too flakery. So yeah, nice and jagged. Yeah, you can consider this kind of like root beer, but the one before it is more root beerish. See, this one is a little bit darker. I consider this one more of a root beer than this one. Yeah, but Marty's right. It looks like a root beerish type, but no. Root beer is more of this darker stuff. In Texas, this is more like just a... some people call this a Pedernales chert. Or Pedernales flint. But let's check out the translucency. Yeah. I'm losing power on my batteries. Yeah, look at that. I like it. Yeah, it's a cream soda. There you go. The cream soda type. See, this one is more root beerish. This one looks more like Knife River Flint too. Yeah, this got a little bit more deeper tones. The one from last night. Cream soda sounds good. Bandy type. Let's see how it compares to the picture. See, it's got that one big bold flake. A lot of them have those big bold flakes. I got one there, right there. This one's you can see it better on this one. This one's kind of a pinkish looking. It might be a heat treat, and not this particular kind of flint. I don't know if I have this. It might also be a patina on the outside that's lighter than the real stuff underneath. But see, that is more like this one. as far as the tone. I got some of this too, this lighter color. What did I do with it? Let's see. From the same ranch. This might be the lighter tone stuff. Let's break into this and see what this is. Just out of curiosity. It might be darker, but who knows? Hold on. Yeah, this is some of the lighter stuff. But I don't know if this is any good. This might be like half and half. Half dark and half light. Yeah. This is the lighter stuff. Smells like, this one smells like basement. Yep, definitely the lighter stuff. And it probably needs to be heat treated. It might actually change color when heat treated. Yeah. Cool. Alright, so how does this look hafted? Goodness. I'm yawning already. I've been trying to get up earlier than usual. I should just sleep in. I can do it. Yes, I can. No one's going to stop me like before.
Hey, Dad, don't sleep in. I know it's Saturday, but we gotta go.
Where do we gotta go?
We gotta go to Chick-fil-A. I haven't eaten breakfast.
You can just eat eggs or something.
No, Chick-fil-A.
So there I go. What did I do with it? What did I do with it? I better not have thrown it in the pile. What did I do with it? Can you see it? Maybe I'm looking right at it. I don't know where I put my arrowhead. Where I put the dandy bandy. I don't see it. Okay. Oh, in your lap. Okay, there it is. Dang. Somebody is paying attention. There it is. It's in our favorite foreshaft. It'll fit in our favorite foreshaft. So that's how I would have to. Looks like a good buffalo hunting point. Yeah. Nice jaggedy sharp edges. Yeah, the modern Elmer's glue. This is a non-safe, non-toxic, something they could have used in the past. It's a starch glue made of plant starch. Yeah, this it's a school glue, the Elmer's school glue. That's the secret. It's made of starch, plant starch, and I can use it to haft with sinew if I want to. Yeah. So there you go. It will probably look good as a knife too. I don't want to shortchange it. Yeah, that, or let's see, what else? Probably not this one, no. It's a thinner foreshaft. This foreshaft is more of a basket maker, Southwest style. They had smaller darts in the Southwest than in the plains, I guess. Yeah, it does look better in this one, I think. Okay, so yeah, my knife handles are not the right size for it. No. Okay. All right, I'm going to check the chat and say goodnight. See, I think I got some of this, right? Or maybe not. Might be a little different. Might be more like some of this other stuff. I think maybe that one. So these artifacts and these rocks come from very similar sites. I don't know if it's exactly the same. I don't think it's exactly the same site. I think they're about 20 miles apart. But it's the same basic rocks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of interesting right there, that one. I've seen that kind of chirp before. Okay. Let's put this down and put this here. All right. I'm going to check the chat. Hold on. I got to navigate to it. Hey, Pat, is Edbo still with us? Yeah. Eddie Main. Eddie Main is still with us, alive and well. But he doesn't post very much anymore. Edbo23 is still with us. Yep. Marty says, I liked Elm Art's glue in school. We would let it dry on our fingers and peel it off. Yeah. I think everyone has done that. Yeah. Still kill a cowboy with that? Oh, yes. Why do you think the tip was like that? Reminds me of some of the points we have here. This is just... it's usually... Well, the theory is, and it's probably a pretty good one, is it penetrates thick hide and hair when it's got a needle tip. It'll penetrate into the thick hide and hair more easily than a rounded tip. Okay, so thick hide and hair. That's why they put that kind of tip on there. That's why I said buffalo hunting. Yeah. Or elk or anything with a lot of hair. Let's see. Not Mike says exactly like my ancestors did it. Who were your ancestors? Let me see. What else? Yep. I'm going to say goodnight in a minute here. Another great live stream, says Ross Wellman. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. All right. What else? What else? Non-symmetrical ear, one wider than the other. Yeah. It's non-symmetrical. I don't know. You're talking about this one here. Yeah. The one I made. The ears are not symmetrical. Or the barbs. This one is more narrow than that one. Yeah. Symmetry is off. So this is symmetry is off on the tip too. Yeah. How's the keeper case looking? It looks pretty darn good because there's nothing in it. Yeah. It looks nice and clean. Marty. I think he knows that I still don't have a keeper case. Jim Cooper says, wow, such a nice point. Did you use overshot technology to get it that thin?
Bro, that's a lot. You gotta have to use overshots on those. I mean, that's what you did, right?
No, that's not what I did. Yeah. See that? Jim's just trying to be funny. TJ likes it. Ranch rock, yes, it's Texas flint. It's ranch rock from a ranch in Texas near San Angelo. South of San Angelo, there's lots of rocks. You go about 25, 30 minutes south of San Angelo, and there's lots of rocks. They start popping up, and then we don't go further than an hour south. There's lots of rocks there. Do we get to watch hunting? Not on this channel. I don't do much hunting at all on this channel. Let's see. I don't hunt with them. Other people have. I've made hunting points for other people. I prefer to hunt with steel. Steel and modern weapons. Firearms, and I'm getting into using crossbows now. But I like making this kind of stuff as a hobby and as a little part-time business. I need to practice up on my instinctive archery, though. I haven't shot for accuracy in a long time. The drills are neat when they repurpose a type like that back in the... Okay, yeah. They used to make drills. When this breaks or gets damaged, you can make a drill out of various points. Let's see. No tracks. Do you have a teaching day? Should have links for starter kits. Yeah, no, the other guys who do the starter kit thing. I don't sell tools and stuff. I just sell my points every Monday in the auction. I've got some tools. I don't say I don't have some, but I don't make them myself. Like I'll sell Notch-O-Matics, and any of the tools that I sell, they're formerly mine. They'll be used. Yeah, but I have auctions every Monday. The Feathered Frontiersman says, I haven't shot my bow in a couple of years. I wonder if the tiller has changed. Yeah, it probably has. Moena says, good night. Yep. Good night, everybody. Somebody's going to keep me humble, yes. Someone's been watching me for many years. I can't pronounce their name. But thanks. Yep, good night, everybody. This flint was actually really, really nice. I might sell a box of these flakes. In fact, I probably will sell a box of these flakes. And I'll look to see if I have any more of this stuff. And, give you a good amount in the box of useful flakes. So you can try it out. But I don't sell rock for a living, so what you get is what I sell in the auction. And that's it. So I'll put a bunch of these together. The ones that are flat enough for points. I'll see if I have any more of this stuff and offer a box in the auction. I don't think I have that much of it. This one's not that good, for instance. It's got a crack. It's got cracks in it. So unless I test it out, I'm not going to sell you this kind of stuff in the box of flakes. Okay? Just so you know. You'll see it during the auction. What I do when I sell a box of flakes, I'll go through all the flakes and show them. Yeah. Some of these, even the small ones, are good. Just to mess around with. These are good to mess around with just to get used to the material. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. I have a live stream every night. So tomorrow's Wednesday. It's going to be slab day. I got lots of slabs. Okay, we'll see you later, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.